Sponsored by the Big 98, Nashville's #1 for new country and the home of the Bobby Bones Show.
Rock and Review is on location at Acme Feed and Seed, and we're catching up with an incredible country music artist, part of CMT Listen Up, who's got a great song out right now, Whiskey Fine. It is Adam Doleac. Thanks for joining us.
You're welcome. Good to see you.
You know, I was telling you before we started the interview, Adam, to where I know you've done so well with Whiskey Fine, you know, the full mix and everything, but I really like the acoustic version you've got out now.
Yeah, and I'm not going to blame you for that. I'm kind of a sucker for acoustic versions. There's not many occasions where I like the original better than the acoustic. I always end up liking the acoustic, and I think it's because you can hear, you know, when something's more produced, a lot of the details kind of go unnoticed. In the acoustic, you can really hear all the little subtleties in the song, and so I'm glad you like it.
Well, I got to bring up also, you're, you know, before going out on your own as a solo act, you wrote hit songs for Darius Rucker and Kane Brown.
Yeah, I did.
Not a bad startup.
It was a great startup. Kane was my first cut as a songwriter, but you know, Kane's a buddy of mine, so while that was really special, I did know Kane. Darius, on the other hand, I'd never met Darius before. So I just got a call one day that Darius loved this song and wanted to record it. It was actually one of my favorite songs, and it was kind of hard to give away. But I did, and it was really good, more so for me, just knowing, as an up-and-coming artist, you're writing these songs, kind of wondering, are these good enough? Are these good? And then to have somebody like Darius, who I used to call Hootie back in the day. Yeah, Hootie and the Blowfish was one of my first records, and actually got a cut with Hootie and the Blowfish as well last year. And I got to sing on the record with Darius, which was really cool. So that was awesome, and just knowing that the stuff you're doing is good enough for these guys, and so it kind of gives you your own confidence with your own stuff going forward too.
Well, you know, and you are the pride of Hattiesburg, Mississippi, and you know, I know that you know you had a promising baseball and golf career, and then you took a right turn with the music.
Yeah, my life's been a lot of right turns. I actually asked my dad last week, I said, you know, we went to golf tournaments literally every weekend of high school, trying to get the scholarship.
Yeah.
He paid my entry fees and for hotel rooms and all the travel for 4 or 5 years. And then I got a full ride to play golf and then play baseball for 1 year, and I call the golf coach and say, never mind, I'm gonna go play baseball. I can play golf till I'm 90. And I had never asked my dad, I was like, were you mad at me? Like, was any part of you mad? He goes, not at all. And baseball was probably his favorite chapter of my life. You know, he just loves kind of being on the ride. So he was awesome, and yeah, it's been a crazy ride, lots of right turns. I like to call it chasing after things that are nearly impossible. That's kind of what makes me happy.
But you're making them happen.
That's what I'm still doing, and so far so good, yeah.
Well, and I got to bring this up too. You know, on your artist page on Facebook, I saw, you know, you're showing some golf techniques, but also you were up around the Hollywood sign when you were out in LA recently.
Yes, I didn't get as near as I'd like to get to it. And I do have a little bit of tourists. The first thing I do when I land in any city or pull up in the bus, whatever it is I'll find thrift stores or anything that is local to that place, and I like to go do stuff like that. So the Hollywood sign has always been a bit too touristy for me to go do. I just felt almost, you know, kind of bad about doing it, but I finally did the last trip, and I was gonna jog, like you said, all the way to it and, you know, essentially touch it. And I got to the trail, and it would have been a solid 10 to 12 mile jog, and have not been training for a marathon throughout the...
Not like back in your athletic days.
Yeah, I don't know that I could have ever done that long, but so I ran 3 or 4 miles, got a good view of it, and then turned around, headed back.
Well, I got to bring this up. You know, your song "Famous" has done so well for you, and now with Whiskey Fine, what else do you got coming up? I mean, obviously it's a strange year, but you know, you're still putting music out. You're doing a lot of stuff on social media. I know you're chomping at the bit to get back on concert and everything. What do you got going on?
So, a lot of new music. I mean, a ton of new music. I've written twice as many songs this year as I've ever written in a year, just due to, I like to work hard at something at all times, and we can't play shows and be on the road. So I've just been writing. And so we've got a lot of great stuff. We're gonna get back in the studio either late this year or early next year to work on that. And until then, we've been messing with the acoustic version of Whiskey's Fine just came out. Another is our latest released, and it's been a big wedding song for people. So we're working on a wedding version of that right now.
Wow.
And also, we call it a desert mix of Meet Me in the City, which was another release right before another.
Right.
Wow, that's a lot of anothers in that sentence. And so we're kind of messing with different versions just to kind of keep some content coming out for our fans, because they're always wanting more stuff, and I'm always wanting to put stuff out. So the focus is going to be Whiskey's Fine, going to radio. I'm really excited about that. that song has always been, the day I wrote it on my mom's birthday, June 24th, a couple years back. I called her afterwards, it's a true story, and I said, I just wrote my first #1 at country radio. And I still believe that. I've always wanted the song to go to radio. And it's finally happening, and we feel really good about it.
Well, I got to bring this up too. For Whiskey's Fine, you do such a great job of the imagery. So when I'm listening to you do the song, it's like, okay, I can visualize that.
Yeah.
And that's pretty impressive with any song or lyrics you write.
Well, that may or may not have been a night that I've lived out several times in my life, so I can see it pretty well when I'm writing it. But there's just always been, there's something that kind of feels classic about that song, even on the first listen, and it's just kind of always had the reaction. We still close the show with it every night whenever we're playing shows, and fans, we've had to play it multiple times throughout nights. It's the one that you can just put the microphone down and the fans sing every word of, and it's I think it's a big old hit, and I'm excited for it to get its chance.
I'm excited for you too, and I know it's doing so well. Well, I want to bring up also for the viewers, Adam, where do they need to go for your social media, website, everything to keep up with all the new releases and other things you have coming out?
Instagram is @AdamDoleac, and then I think the only one that's @AdamDoleac Music is Twitter. And the easiest way is just AdamDoleac.com, and it'll take you to any of the socials you want to go to.
Well, I'll tell you what, however you consume music, be sure and go and download, buy Whiskey's Fine. You're going to want to see him live in concert, too, when that starts happening again. Adam Doleac, thank you so much for joining the Rockin' Review. I'm Eric Dahl. Thanks for watching.
Sponsored by the Big 98, Nashville's #1 for new country and the home of the Bobby Bones Show.